What's good, Wizards fans, and welcome to the Locked On Wizards podcast. It's your host, the real Ed Oliver. Just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. So today is part two of the shooting guards, and then we'll do two wings, just previewing their minutes and basically kind of like their homework, what I want to see from these guys and how they would fit in this upcoming season. Also, I do want to talk about Deni. He played in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers as well. They played against Sweden. They did lose. Just want to talk about how he played. I didn't get to watch the game, but I did get some insight from Eran Soroka. He was a guest on Locked On Wizards. You can follow him on Twitter at SOROKMAN. He is an NBA analyst for Sport 5 in Israel. He definitely gives me a really good. He gives me a good insight, and he doesn't have a biased opinion on how Deni plays. He keeps it real and honest. If Deni played well or if he didn't. So looking at the numbers, so Deni scored 13 points. They did lose to Sweden. They lost. The score was he didn't send me the score. They lost 83-95. They lost 83-95. I want to say they lost the game before as well. So Deni was 4 of 8 from the 3-point line. Eran says his shot does look more fluid, which, he's been working out with Drew Hanlon over the summer. 0 for 3 from the two for 2-point field goals. He was 0 for 3 and 1 for 2 from the free throw line and lost 83-95. He had 5 boards, 5 turnovers, 1 assist and 1 block. Not a fan of the assist to turnover ratio. I know Deni is better than that. 5 turnovers and 1 assist is not like him. Now I know he is coming back from being out due to testing positive for the virus. He was in health and safety protocol, so this is his second game back from that. Also, something that was underwhelming was his plus minus was -20. He was worst on the floor, worst on the court in that category. Deni is usually really good in the plus minus box. He's a positive player. Whenever he goes out there, he impacts the game in a positive way, whether it's, if he's not knocking down the shot or finishing around the rim. He's able to impact the game defensively or being a playmaker or passing, getting teammates in open spots and getting them in spots to, make an easy basket. Also, just some context about the game. One of his threes did get the score to 66-70. So he did get the game to within reach after they were down by 20. So they were down by 20 at one point. He brought the game back down to 4 by knocking down a 3, bringing it to 66-70. He did have a couple of misses around the rim. I'm not sure if they were layups or not, but he did have some good passes that did not become assists, where guys were just not knocking down the shot. He did try to feed the bigs mainly, so that's something I can see with Porzingis. That's something I can see with Kristaps Porzingis. Like I talked about, how do these games translate to regular games? Like you look at the Auburn game, and you look at the competition, so you don't want to take too much stock in that game, but you saw the potential with Deni where, hey, if you use him in this way, he could reach his potential where Mike Schmitz of Draft Express said Deni was the steal of the draft. You could see where he was the primary playmaker. He was making plays. He was getting to the free throw line. He was finishing above the rim and dunking the ball. That's the game where I saw, hey, this is what, the consensus projected Deni to be at that 9th pick, where some people had him as a top 5 pick in the draft. So this game was not one of his best games. I guess overall the team as well. Jan Mader had 27 points. He plays for the Celtics and was plus 11 in 28 minutes. Deni played 25 minutes of the game. So it's a 40-minute game. So that's solid minutes there. Kristaps played 29 minutes. And 25 minutes is around what Deni usually gets for the Washington Wizards. We're going to talk about him just a little bit, him and Rui. We're going to get to him. And then there's so many wings on the roster. Kyle Kuzma's a wing. Will Barton's a wing. Even Anthony Gill, you want to throw him in that group too. So they have a good amount of wings on the roster, forwards. Corey Kispert sometimes is a wing too. So he's played small forward. He played small forward a lot last year. So, but yeah, I mean, Deni, he's been up and down so far in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers. I hate that he was out with the health and safety protocols. But last game, yeah, he got blocked twice, is what Eran said. So some of the deficiencies and some of the things, some improvement areas are showing. Some good things are showing too. 4 for 8 from the 3-point line is really, really good. I'm happy about that. I'm really looking forward to him shooting better from the 3-point line because that will open up a lot of things for him offensively where, hey, guys are, have to guard him and close out, or guys are kind of staying back because they don't believe that he's going to knock down the 3. So when he starts to open up that 3 or start knocking down the 3, that can open up so much for his game. That can just open up so much for the Washington Wizards offense as a team. His rookie year, he shot 31% from the three. This past year, he shot 31% from the three, which is below league average. So if he can open that up where guys are closing out, he can attack that closeout. Where you look at the Auburn game, he was attacking closeouts and getting to the basket, getting to the rim, getting fouled. So only shot 2 free throws this game. I want to see him get to the line more. He's a really good rebounder too, so we already know that. And I know he's a solid, really good defender as well. So not one of his better games. This is what Eran said, not one of his better games. So looking forward to the next one. So but I do want to I want to finish up with the shooting guard position. Will the Thrill Barton, Johnny Davis, and then I'll talk about Deni, Deni or Rui. We'll see how much time we have in this episode, and I'll get to that on the position preview. But I guess I'll do Rui or Rui again. I'll see how I'm feeling. So, but before we do get to those guys and touch on those guys and expectations and grades or improvement areas or what we're expecting for these guys, how they can help out the minute distribution. This episode is brought to you by NHTSA Impaired Driving. Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? What's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. All right, so let's start off with Will Barton for the shooting guard / wings, part 2. Will the Thrill, you look at his raw numbers from Basketball Reference. He averaged 14 points a game, 4 boards a game, 3.9 assists. I really like the playmaking ability of Will the Thrill. He's a guy that can be a secondary ball handler. He said he wants to play with Big Gaff. Who wants to throw lobs to Big Gaff. So if Will the Thrill comes off the bench as a 2 guard, as a shooting guard behind Bradley Beal, or if he starts at the 3, so really he can throw lobs to Kristaps. I can see that happening. I can see him throwing lobs to Daniel Gafford as well. He's a really good playmaker. Him and Jokic, Jokic is not a lob threat at all, but him and Jokic, he had some assists to Jokic. Will Barton is he's a solid 3-point shooter as well. He leads the Denver Nuggets all-time 3-pointers made. I know this because he played so many games with the Denver Nuggets, but at the same time, he can really space the floor too. He's 6'6", 181 pounds. So he has the height and the length of a small forward, but he's a wiry, lean, skinny guy. He's athletic. Defensively, he was top 20 in defensive box plus minus. Same thing with Monte Morris. Now, defensively, he has tailed off in the last couple of years. He was one of the top rated in the off chaser roles per Basketball Index. Now, you look at some of the games in the playoffs, he did look a little lost in the sauce defensively. Now, the improvement areas that I hear from Nuggets fans or from Adam Morris, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, who does Locked On Nuggets, is shot selection. Sometimes he's a microwave scorer. So sometimes you're going to get hot. You're just going to get in that microwave. You're going to have a heat check from here and there. Sometimes he does take some ill-advised shots. Sometimes he takes some tough shots. He's a tough shot maker too. He's a really good finisher around the rim. And we need guys that can play above the rim. So he does bring athleticism to the team, which I'm really looking forward for that. He brings toughness. I really think he's in a contract year too. He's in a contract year. This is a contract year for Will Barton. Going to bring up his contract too. And I really like the familiarity with Wes Unseld Jr., him and Monte Morris, where, and Will Barton has been said that, that he's been working out in Los Angeles with the Wizards too, and their players-driven training camp or players-driven mini camp. Will Barton, he's on a 2-year, $30 million deal. This upcoming offseason, he will be an unrestricted free agent. So it's a contract year for him as well. Same thing, like I said, with Kristaps Porzingis. Will, he's going to be playing for another contract. Last year, we had a lot of guys becoming undrafted free agents. I kind of compare Will to Montrezl Harrell in a sense, just kind of like their impact, where I think how Montrez had such a strong impact, positive impact, where he was dominating games. I think Will Barton can do something similar to that, where he's going to have a couple 30-point games this year, where he's going to go off and he'll be a microwave scorer. Where Montrez had some incredible games. I think Will Barton's capable of doing something like that too, where fans just fall in love. I think fans are going to love Will Barton, just the intensity he plays with, the tough, the Baltimore grittiness, the Baltimore toughness. I think fans are going to love that. Him playing so close to where he was, to where, where he grew up is awesome. So he's on a 2-year, $30 million deal. We'll see if the Wizards do bring him back. He is 32 years old, which is not bad at all. Not 32, right in the middle there in playing years. So, but the 3% percentage is intriguing. I like that because it definitely can raise the bar for the Wizards from the 3-point line. Like I said, they need any shooting they can get. 14 points a game. Would he be better come off the bench or would he be better starting? We'll see. They started KCP at the 3 last year. 3.9 assists, 4.8 boards, 14 points a game. The free throw line, I want to see how many times he got to the free throw line. 1.8 free throws per game, so he doesn't really get to the free throw line much. But 80% from the free throw line, which is solid. Solid rebounder too. Couple steals per game. Not a couple, but 0.8 steals per game. So Will the Thrill, I think he's going to start. I think that's what Wes will like to, having that familiarity with the Nuggets guys. I think they were brought here to start. I don't think any of these guys were brought to come off the bench. So Will is going to start. How is that going to work out defensively with Brad, Will, and Monte Morris? How is it going to work out? We'll see. I'm intrigued to see it. Now, last year for the Nuggets, Jamal Murray was out, Michael Porter Jr. was out, so he had to step up in a big role for the Nuggets, and he played really well next to Jokic and Monte Morris. He played 65% of his minutes were at shooting guard, 34% of his minutes were at the small forward position, 1% at the power forward position. Did not play point guard or center at all, so he is interchangeable. I think this year it's gonna flip, where he's gonna play 65% of his minutes at the small forward position, and then about 34% of his minutes at the shooting guard position. But if he does come in and play with second units, or they could stagger his minutes, that's where I could really see him go off. Kind of like how Montrezl Harrell just goes crazy on bench units. I can see Will Barton doing something like that too, where he's going crazy on starter units as well. But I just do think that maybe Deni starting or Rui starting as a 3, and then having Will come with a bench could really provide some firepower for that second unit. It can really fire and just a guy that can create a shot for himself. The Wizards didn't have a lot of guys that could create shots for themselves off of the dribble, and Will Barton is certainly somebody that can do that. Bradley Beal can create a shot for himself off the dribble. Kristaps can create a shot off the dribble for himself and score. And Will Barton is somebody that can do that too. I think Monte Morris is a guy that can do it. Rui can do it consistently. But other than that, Corey Kispert is somebody. He's a guy that needs somebody to set him up to score or backdoor cuts. Denny's still working on that. DeLon Wright is a playmaker. He's looking for guys. He's looking to set guys up more than score. And then Gaffer's another guy that is usually his baskets are assisted. So Will Barton's a guy that doesn't need an assist to score. He's a guy that can just play make and create at times. He's a guy that can bring the ball up too and initiate offense. So I want to see how Wes uses Will the Thrill Barton. So I'm really intrigued by that pickup. If he does bring him off the bench, I think he can be a 6-man of the year candidate. But if he's starting, I'm fine with that too. I really am. All right, so next guy is Johnny Davis. Oh, and I have Will Barton. So we look at the minutes from Will Barton the last couple of years. He has averaged, so last year he had 32 minutes a game. The year before that in 2021, 31 minutes a game. He started 52 games out of 56. He played in 71 games last year and started 71 games. And then in 2019, 2020, he started 58 games. The 2019 through 2021, he was listed as a small forward, and then 2022, this past year, he was listed as a shooting guard. So he can do both. But I'm gonna say around that 30 minutes per game range, probably about 32, really 32 again, really 33. I think he's gonna play a lot with Wes. I think he's gonna play a lot with Wes. Wes has a plan for him for sure. Johnny Davis. This is where it gets tough here. This is where it gets tricky with the minutes here. This is where somebody's going to be an odd man out or potentially could be the odd man out. And I think, as a rookie, it's tough to get minutes. This is why I think, Johnny may play in the G League a little bit, because after Brad, after Corey, he is the third shooting guard on the depth chart. And then you look at the small forward position. After Will, after Deni, then it's Johnny Davis. So he's third string on each depth chart. And then, Tommy Shepard and Wes said that he can play point guard. Monte Morris. After that is DeLon Wright, and then Johnny Davis. So Johnny Davis is really third string on every category, every position. He's third string. So where is he going to get playing time? Let's say Corey Kispert is playing really well. He's knocking down the 3. Do you really put Johnny in? or you're going to put Brad back in the game after Corey gets tired and you want to change it up, Will Barton at the 3. You can play him at the 2 and then maybe Johnny at the 3 sometimes here, or maybe Johnny at the 2 and then Will at the 3 in some bench units. This is why I'm like, hey, where are the minutes for Johnny? Where are they? It's going to be tough for him. Unfortunately, injuries happen, so there are going to be times where we're going to need Johnny to play. Even without an injury, I think there are going to be times where we're going to need him defensively for his defensive intensity. And Johnny does have some switchability. I think he can guard point guards. I think he can guard some threes in the league at times. But Johnny, he's going to have to work on the 3-point percentage. He's going to have to work on the ball handling, the shot creation. There's just a lot of homework for him, and obviously that's because he's a rookie, to be fair to him. But looking at the summer league game, you saw some deficiencies there where he was stuck on the island, couldn't really get past guys, didn't have any counter moves. When he did get stopped, he didn't really know where to go. I thought he was a solid passer. I thought he was a good rebounder. I thought he was solid from the free throw line. The 3-point shot, the form, I don't really have much of a problem with it. Didn't knock it down much, but towards the last couple games, or that last game, he hit a couple threes. Defensively, I thought he was solid. The Pistons game, he got to the basket. He got blocked by Jalen Duran, where his shot was sent to the second row. So he has to work on finishing. He did miss some bunnies, some layups, or finishing through contact. He has to work on that too. But he's a tough shot maker. That's what his game is based on. High usage rate at Wisconsin, where he's not going to get that usage rate. He's going to be a catch and shoot guy with the Wizards to start off. Bradley Beal's going to have the ball. Monte Morris is going to have the ball. So he's going to have to be ready to catch and shoot. I would say, a la Josh Hart, he's going to have to be ready for that 3-and-D role, or even a KCP type of role, 3-and-D guy. That's what I think is going to start off as in the NBA. But I do want to see him handle the ball a little bit and get those situations. His game is predicated in the mid-range game. He was a great mid-range shooter at Wisconsin. I know that shot is looked down upon or frowned upon in the NBA, but can he take some tough shots and make them? Will he get that long leash where his game is where they just give him the ball at Wisconsin, get out the way and just make a tough shot, where it's not going to work like that right now with this roster where it's currently constructed. So I do think he's going to play a couple of G League games. I think he's going to play at least 5, to be honest. I just want to see where he gets playing time. I want to see him in the preseason too. I do want to see him play against more talented players, actual NBA players, how he plays in the flow of the NBA game. The speed is going to be faster, of course. How he's going to play next to Bradley Beal. How does he play next to Kristaps? Other guys where defenses aren't really focusing on you, where they did a little bit in the summer league. They weren't doubling him or anything like that. But I do want to see how he plays with better talent around him. So I did want to get to Deni and Rui, but you know what? I'm just going to save that for another episode with the wings. We're going to get to that, and I'll talk about those guys. But I just want to finish up. I just wanted to finish up the shooting guard / wings preview. I think Johnny, with the minutes distribution, I'm gonna go when he does play. I'm gonna say 10 minutes per game. Will the throw is gonna get about 30, 32. Will, I just want to see him lock down defensively, be that 3-and-D kind of guy, knock down open shots when Kristaps hits him, and be that secondary playmaker too. Create shots for others and be a really good playmaker and be a spark. Whether it's off the bench or starting, I just want to see that energy and just being a spark for sure. Finishing above the rim for sure, and that playmaking ability. I'm intrigued to shoot it and knocking down the 3. I'm intrigued to see Will Barton. I'm excited to see Will. I really am. I'm excited to see Will Barton. So, once again, I just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get a podcast. Now, for your second listen, go and check out and get up to date on the latest news and rumors in the NBA in just 30 minutes every day with Locked On NBA. Locked On NBA, your daily NBA update in just 30 minutes. Make sure you guys subscribe to Locked On Wizards on YouTube and hit the notification bell. Hell to the Wizards. Peace.